You know that feeling when your alarm goes off and you're already defeated before your feet hit the floor. You wake up exhausted. Your phone is already buzzing with notifications. Your brain immediately starts running through everything that went wrong yesterday and everything that could go wrong today. Before you've even brushed your teeth, you're mentally drained. Here's the reality. Most guys are losing the day in the first 30 minutes after waking up. Not because they're lazy, not because they lack ambition, but because nobody ever taught them how to win the morning. And if you lose the morning, you're playing catch-up for the next 16 hours. But what if I told you that 2,000 years ago, some of the most powerful men in the world, emperors, warriors, philosophers, figured out a system for starting each day with complete mental clarity, unshakable focus, and the kind of inner strength that carries you through anything? The ancient Stoics weren't just philosophers sitting around debating ideas. These were men who ran empires, led armies, and faced impossible challenges. And they all had one thing in common: a morning routine designed to train their minds the same way warriors train their bodies. Today, I'm breaking down 11 Stoic principles that will completely transform your mornings. These aren't complicated meditation rituals or hour-long routines. These are practical, battle-tested strategies that you can implement immediately, starting tomorrow morning. And here's what's going to happen. Your productivity will increase, your stress will decrease, and you'll finally experience what it feels like to actually be in control of your day instead of just reacting to whatever chaos comes your way. If you're serious about leveling up your mental game, drop a comment right now saying, "I'm in." And make sure you're subscribed to Strength Within, because we're building a community of men who refuse to settle for mediocrity. Let's get into it. Habit 1. Start in silence. Here's what most guys do. Alarm goes off. Immediately grab the phone, start scrolling through texts, emails, social media, news. Within 5 minutes, your nervous system is jacked up, your cortisol is spiking, and your brain is already in reactive mode. You're letting the world dictate your mental state before you've even gotten out of bed. The Stoics understood something crucial. The first few minutes after waking up are when your mind is most impressionable. Your subconscious is still active, your defenses are down, and whatever you feed your brain in those moments sets the tone for your entire day. That's why the first Stoic habit is radical simplicity. Start in silence. Not meditation apps, not ambient music, not podcasts. Just 3 to 5 minutes of sitting quietly, doing absolutely nothing. I know what you're thinking, that sounds boring as hell. But here's what's actually happening during those few minutes. You're giving your nervous system a chance to transition from sleep mode to waking mode without immediately flooding it with stimulation and stress. Science backs this up. When you wake up, your body is still producing melatonin, and your cortisol levels are naturally rising to help you get going. If you immediately hit yourself with stressful information, you're adding fuel to that cortisol spike, which means you're starting your day in fight or flight mode. But if you sit in silence for just a few minutes, you allow your parasympathetic nervous system to engage. This is the part of your nervous system that regulates recovery, relaxation, and clear thinking. You're essentially telling your body, "We're awake, we're alert, but we're in control." Let me give you a real example. I know a guy who runs a marketing agency in Austin. He's managing a team of 15 people, dealing with demanding clients, and handling multiple 6-figure projects at any given time. High-stress environment. He used to wake up and immediately start checking his phone, looking at what his team had messaged him overnight, scanning client emails, reviewing project updates. By the time he got to the office, he was already mentally exhausted. Then he made one change: 5 minutes of silence before touching his phone. That's it. He sits on the edge of his bed, feet on the floor, eyes closed, and just breathes. He doesn't call it meditation. He doesn't use any special technique. He just sits there and exists for 5 minutes. The result? He's calmer throughout the day. He makes better decisions under pressure. He doesn't snap at his team when things go wrong. And most importantly, he feels like he's leading his day instead of being dragged through it. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." He wasn't talking about going on vacation or escaping to the mountains. He was talking about the ability to access inner calm regardless of external chaos. And that ability starts with training yourself to be comfortable in silence. Starting your day in silence isn't about spirituality or some new age practice. It's a strategic choice. You're taking control of your mental state before the world has a chance to hijack it. You're building a foundation of calm that will carry you through whatever the day throws at you. Try this tomorrow morning. Set your alarm 5 minutes earlier. When it goes off, don't reach for your phone. Just sit up, put your feet on the floor, close your eyes, and breathe. That's it. 5 minutes. It's uncomfortable at first because your mind will want stimulation, but push through that discomfort. Because on the other side of it is something most guys never experience: complete mental ownership of your day from the moment you wake up. Habit 2. Choose your virtue for the day. The Stoics believed that external success, money, status, recognition, could all disappear in an instant. The only thing that couldn't be taken from you was your character, your virtue. And they approached virtue not as some abstract philosophical concept, but as a practical tool for living well. Here's the habit. Every morning, choose one virtue to focus on for the entire day. Just one. It could be patience, honesty, courage, discipline, or kindness. Pick one quality you want to embody and make every decision that day through that lens. This does something powerful. It gives you clarity and direction. Instead of drifting through your day on autopilot, you have a clear internal compass guiding your actions. Let's say you choose patience as your virtue for the day. Now every situation becomes an opportunity to practice it. Traffic jam on your commute, that's your patience training. Coworker being difficult, another chance to practice. Project running behind schedule, perfect opportunity to stay calm under pressure. You're not just passively experiencing these frustrations, you're actively using them to build the person you want to become. I know a construction project manager in Denver who started doing this. His job is inherently chaotic, dealing with contractors who show up late, materials that don't arrive on time, weather delays, budget constraints, demanding clients. Every day is a series of problems that need solving. He used to go home exhausted and irritated every single day. His wife could tell the moment he walked in the door what kind of day he'd had based on his energy. Then he started choosing a virtue each morning. Some days it was patience. Other days it was courage to have difficult conversations he'd been avoiding. Sometimes it was simply consistency, showing up with the same steady energy regardless of what was happening on site. The shift was dramatic. He's dealing with the same problems, but he's not being controlled by them anymore. He's choosing his response. And that sense of agency, of being in control of himself even when he can't control circumstances, completely changed his mental state. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's the essence of this habit. You're not just thinking about virtue or posting inspirational quotes about it. You're actively practicing it in real time in ordinary situations every single day. This also cuts through the mental clutter that plagues most guys in the morning. When you don't have a clear focus, you drift. You're reactive. You're led by your emotions and circumstances. But when you've chosen your virtue for the day, you have an anchor. Every action gains purpose. Every challenge becomes training. You're not just going through the motions, you're deliberately building character. Try this. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, choose one virtue. Write it down if you need to. Then throughout the day, whenever you face a decision or challenge, ask yourself, how would someone who embodies this virtue handle this? At the end of the day, reflect on how you did. Where did you succeed? Where did you fall short? No judgment, just observation. This simple practice transforms ordinary days into training grounds for becoming the kind of man you actually respect. And that's what Stoicism is really about. Not just thinking better, but becoming better through deliberate daily practice. Habit 3. Practice negative visualization. This one sounds counterintuitive, but stick with me because it's incredibly powerful. The Stoics practice something called premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. Basically, every morning they would spend a few minutes imagining what could go wrong that day. Not to be pessimistic or anxious, but to be prepared. Think about it. You've got an important presentation at work. Most guys will either avoid thinking about it until the last minute or they'll just hope everything goes perfectly. But hope isn't a strategy. The Stoic approach is different. You sit down in the morning and ask, what could go wrong today? Maybe the projector malfunctions. Maybe someone challenges your data. Maybe your boss asks a question you haven't prepared for. Maybe you get stuck in traffic and show up late. By visualizing these potential obstacles beforehand, you accomplish two things. First, you remove the element of surprise. Your brain has already encountered these scenarios, so if they actually happen, you're not shocked or thrown off balance. You're ready. Second, it drives you to prepare better. When you imagine the projector failing, you naturally think to bring a backup. When you picture someone challenging your data, you make sure your numbers are airtight. Professional athletes do this constantly. They visualize missing shots, falling behind in the game, facing hostile crowds. Why? Because mental rehearsal prepares your nervous system to handle pressure when it actually arrives. For regular guys like us, this is the same principle. You're training your mind to stay calm and functional when things don't go according to plan. I know a sales director in Chicago who manages a team selling enterprise software. Big deals, long sales cycles, lots of pressure. He used to get completely rattled whenever something unexpected happened during a client pitch. Then he started spending 5 minutes every morning before important meetings just running through what could go wrong. Client might bring up a competitor. Technical demo might glitch. Decision maker might not show up. Budget might have been cut. He didn't dwell on these possibilities or let them create anxiety. He just acknowledged them and thought through how he'd respond to each one. The result? He's infinitely more composed during actual meetings. When something does go wrong, and it always does, he doesn't panic or fumble. He smoothly pivots because he's already mentally prepared for that exact scenario. Here's the thing most guys miss about this practice. It's not about being negative or expecting failure. It's about being realistic and prepared. The world is unpredictable. Things go wrong. That's not pessimism, that's just reality. The difference between someone who falls apart when things go sideways and someone who stays steady is simple: preparation. Mental preparation. Try this for the next week. Every morning, spend 3 minutes asking yourself, what could throw me off today? Not everything that could possibly go wrong, just the realistic obstacles you might face. Then ask, if that happens, how will I respond? You're essentially creating a mental playbook for adversity. And here's what you'll notice. The more you prepare for things to go wrong, the less they actually bother you when they do. You develop a resilience that most guys never build because they're too busy hoping everything will work out perfectly. The Stoics didn't believe in luck. They believed in preparation. And this morning habit is how you prepare your mind to handle whatever the day brings. Habit 4. Define your circle of control every morning. You wake up to a world full of things you cannot control. The economy, politics, other people's opinions, traffic, weather, your boss's mood, whether your client approves the proposal, how your team performs. Most guys waste enormous amounts of mental energy worrying about, stressing over, and trying to control these external factors. And it's exhausting. The Stoics had a radical solution. Draw a clear line between what you can control and what you can't. Then only focus on your side of that line. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic teachers, said it clearly: make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. This isn't about giving up or being passive. It's about being strategic with your mental energy and emotional investment. Here's the morning habit. Before you start your day, identify what's actually within your control today. Your actions, your attitude, your effort, your responses, your preparation. That's pretty much it. Everything else, outcomes, other people's reactions, circumstances, is outside your control. And the Stoics would say it's not worth your emotional energy. Let's make this concrete. Say you've got a job interview coming up. What can you control? You can control how thoroughly you research the company, how well you prepare answers to common questions, what you wear, how early you leave to avoid being late, your body language, your attitude. What can't you control? Whether they like you, whether another candidate has more experience, whether they've already decided on someone internal, whether the interviewer is having a bad day, whether the company has a hiring freeze you don't know about. Most guys will spend the morning of that interview anxious about all the things they can't control. But the Stoic approach is different. Focus entirely on what you can control. Do those things excellently, and let go of the rest. I know a product manager in Seattle who was constantly stressed about his projects. He'd lose sleep worrying about whether stakeholders would approve his roadmap, whether engineering would hit deadlines, whether marketing would execute the launch properly. All things outside his direct control. Then he started this practice. Every morning he'd write down 3 things he could control that day and 3 things he'd consciously choose not to worry about. Control. The quality of his documentation, the clarity of his communication, his own time management. Not worrying about whether other departments hit their deadlines, whether executives changed their minds, whether competitors launched something similar. This simple distinction transformed his mental state. He's still ambitious, still driven, still wants great outcomes, but he's no longer exhausting himself trying to control things that aren't his to control. The result is paradoxical. When you stop trying to control everything, you actually have more influence. Because all your energy is focused on the things that actually matter, your own actions and responses. Try this tomorrow. At the start of your day, write down or mentally note 3 things you'll focus on controlling and 3 things you'll consciously let go of. Be specific. Throughout the day, when you notice yourself stressing about something outside your control, acknowledge it and redirect your focus back to what you can actually influence. This doesn't happen overnight. Your mind has been conditioned for years to worry about external factors. But with consistent practice, you'll build the habit of focusing your energy where it actually makes a difference. And that's when you experience something most guys never do: mental freedom. Not because your circumstances are perfect, but because you're no longer enslaved to circumstances you can't control anyway. Habit 5. Take immediate action. Here's where most guys get stuck. They wait. They wait to feel motivated. They wait to feel ready. They wait for the perfect conditions. They wait until they've had their coffee, until they're more awake, until they're in a better mood. But the Stoics understood something critical. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I am rising to do the work of a human being.'" This isn't poetic language, it's a direct command to himself. He's not waiting to feel like getting up. He's getting up because that's what needs to be done. The morning habit is simple but powerful. Take action immediately, not eventually. Not after you scroll through your phone for 20 minutes. Immediately. Your alarm goes off. Get up. Don't negotiate. Don't hit snooze. Don't lie there thinking about how tired you are. Just get up. Feet on the floor. Stand up. Move. This isn't about being harsh with yourself. It's about understanding that your feelings in the morning are completely unreliable. You're never going to feel like getting up. Your body wants to stay comfortable. Your mind wants to drift. But action, even the smallest action, creates momentum. And momentum creates motivation. Modern neuroscience confirms this. When you take action, even a tiny step, your brain releases dopamine. That's the neurotransmitter that gives you a sense of accomplishment and drives you to keep going. So if you force yourself out of bed, splash water on your face and make your coffee, you've already won 3 small victories. Your brain starts associating morning with action and achievement, not with hitting snooze and scrolling. I know a financial analyst in New York who struggled with this for years. He'd set his alarm for 5:30 a.m. with all these intentions of working out before work. But he'd hit snooze 3 or 4 times, finally drag himself out of bed at 6:15, and then feel behind all morning. The breakthrough came when he made one simple change: no negotiation. Alarm goes off, feet hit the floor immediately. No thinking about it, no internal debate, just action. First few days were brutal. His body resisted. His mind offered every excuse. But he didn't listen to any of it, he just moved. After about a week, something shifted. His body started waking up before the alarm. The resistance decreased. And within a month, getting up immediately felt natural. But here's the key insight. He didn't wait until it felt easy. He took action when it was hard, and eventually the action made it easier. That's the Stoic principle. You don't wait for perfect conditions or perfect feelings. You do what needs to be done when it needs to be done, regardless of how you feel about it. This applies to everything in your morning. Don't want to work out? Do it anyway. Don't feel like meditating? Sit anyway. Don't feel like journaling? Write anyway. Because every time you take action despite not feeling like it, you're building self-discipline. And self-discipline is like a muscle, it gets stronger with use. The guys who accomplish the most aren't the ones who feel the most motivated. They're the ones who have built the habit of taking action regardless of motivation. Try this. Tomorrow morning, commit to one immediate action. The second your alarm goes off, execute it. No delay, no debate, no negotiation. It could be getting out of bed, doing 10 push-ups, drinking a glass of water, taking a cold shower, whatever you choose. But make it immediate and non-negotiable. Do this consistently for a week and you'll notice something powerful. You're no longer at the mercy of your feelings. You've proven to yourself that you can take action even when you don't feel like it. And that realization, that you're in control of your actions regardless of your emotions, is the foundation of mental strength. Habit 6. Remember you're going to die. This sounds dark, but it's actually the most life-affirming practice in Stoicism. Memento mori, remember that you will die. The Stoics would remind themselves of their mortality every single morning, not to be morbid or depressing, but to wake them up to the preciousness of each day. When you truly internalize that your time is finite, that this day might be your last, that you don't get unlimited chances to do the things that matter, it changes how you spend your morning. You stop hitting snooze for an extra 30 minutes of restless half-sleep. You stop wasting the first hour scrolling through meaningless content. You stop putting off the things that actually matter because you'll get to them eventually. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't meant to create anxiety. It's meant to create urgency and appreciation. Every morning is a gift. Every conversation might be the last one you have with someone. Every opportunity to take action might not come again. Let me give you a practical example. Say you've been meaning to call your dad. You keep thinking about it, but you're busy. You'll do it this weekend. You'll get to it eventually. Then one morning you remind yourself, memento mori. You could die today. He could die today. Eventually isn't guaranteed, so you pick up the phone and call him, not out of obligation or guilt, but out of genuine appreciation for the fact that you still can. I know a guy in his early 30s who started practicing this after his friend died unexpectedly in a car accident. They were the same age, both healthy, both had plans for the future. And suddenly his friend was gone. It shook him. Made him realize he'd been living like he had unlimited time, putting off important conversations, delaying personal projects, staying in a job he hated because he'd figure it out eventually. After that, he started every morning with a simple reminder, I'm alive today. That's not guaranteed tomorrow. It didn't make him reckless or impulsive. It made him intentional. He had the difficult conversation with his girlfriend about their future instead of avoiding it. He started the side business he'd been talking about for 3 years. He made time for the relationships that actually mattered instead of just maintaining surface-level connections. The practice of memento mori strips away the trivial and highlights what's essential. You stop sweating small inconveniences because you're aware they're just that, small and temporary. You stop wasting energy on petty conflicts because you realize how little time you actually have. This morning habit doesn't require anything elaborate, just a moment of honest reflection. I'm alive right now. This might be my last day. Am I going to live it intentionally or drift through it on autopilot? The answer to that question determines how you approach the next 16 hours. Try this tomorrow morning. Look at yourself in the mirror and say out loud, this might be my last day. Not to be dramatic, but to be honest. Then ask yourself, given that reality, what actually matters today? You'll find that most of the things you were planning to worry about suddenly seem less important, and the things you were planning to put off suddenly seem urgent. That's the power of memento mori. It doesn't make you afraid of death. It makes you committed to living fully while you're still alive. Habit 7. Embrace whatever comes. The Stoics had a concept called amor fati, love of fate. It means actively loving everything that happens to you, whether you initially perceive it as good or bad. This isn't naive positivity. It's a deeply practical approach to handling reality. Here's the morning habit: prepare your mind to accept and even embrace whatever the day brings. Not just tolerate it, but find a way to work with it, learn from it, and potentially benefit from it. Let's say you wake up and your car won't start. You've got an important meeting. This is objectively inconvenient. Most guys will react with frustration, anger, stress. They'll spend mental energy being upset about something they can't change. Their whole morning is now ruined by one mechanical failure. But someone practicing amor fati responds differently. Okay, car won't start. That's reality. How do I make this work? Maybe they call an Uber and use the ride time to review their notes for the meeting. Maybe they reschedule and realize the extra preparation time actually helps. Maybe they walk and get some unexpected exercise. They're not pretending to be happy about the inconvenience. They're simply refusing to waste energy fighting reality. Instead, they're working with what is. I know a contractor in Phoenix who deals with this constantly. Construction is unpredictable. Materials show up late, weather changes, permits get delayed, workers call in sick. Every day brings some new obstacle that wasn't in the plan. He used to let this stress consume him. He'd start his day with a plan, something would inevitably go wrong, and he'd spend the rest of the day frustrated and behind schedule. Then he started practicing amor fati. Every morning before heading to the site, he'd remind himself, something will go wrong today, and when it does, I'm going to work with it instead of against it. When the concrete delivery was 3 hours late, instead of fuming on the phone with the supplier, he redirected his crew to tasks that could be done without it. When a worker called in sick, he adjusted the day's priorities. When weather forced a delay, he used the time for planning and prep work that usually gets neglected. Same obstacles, completely different response. And because he wasn't wasting energy being upset about things he couldn't control, he actually solved problems faster and more effectively. The morning practice of amor fati is about mental preparation. You're acknowledging that reality doesn't care about your preferences. Things will happen that you didn't plan for. Obstacles will appear. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will change. But here's the key insight. Your peace of mind doesn't depend on everything going your way. It depends on your ability to work with whatever comes. This doesn't mean being passive or not trying to improve situations. It means not adding unnecessary suffering on top of necessary challenges. The car breaking down is one problem. Getting angry and stressed about it is a second, self-imposed problem that doesn't help solve the first. Try this practice. Tomorrow morning, tell yourself, today will bring unexpected challenges, and I'm going to embrace them as opportunities to practice flexibility and problem solving. Then throughout the day, when something doesn't go according to plan, pause before reacting. Instead of "why is this happening to me?" ask, "how can I work with this?" This shift in perspective, from victim to adapter, changes everything. You're no longer at war with reality. You're learning to dance with it. And that's what amor fati really means. Not passive acceptance, but active engagement with whatever life brings. Making it part of your story instead of letting it derail you. Habit 8. Train your body. The Stoics understood something modern science now confirms. You cannot separate mental training from physical training. A strong mind requires a strong body. Marcus Aurelius, despite being emperor with unlimited resources for comfort, maintained physical discipline. Not because he enjoyed it, but because he knew his mind depended on it. The morning habit is straightforward. Move your body every single day. This doesn't require a 2-hour gym session or an elaborate routine. It could be 15 minutes of calisthenics, a 20-minute run, a half hour of lifting, or even just a brisk walk around your neighborhood. The specific activity matters less than the consistency and the intention. You're not just exercising for physical health, though that's a bonus. You're training your mind through your body. Here's what happens when you force yourself to work out in the morning. You're practicing discipline before you even get to work. You're proving to yourself that you can do hard things when you don't feel like it. You're building momentum that carries into the rest of your day. There's also the neurological benefit. Exercise increases blood flow to your brain, releases endorphins that improve mood, reduces cortisol and other stress hormones, and literally makes you think more clearly. I know a software engineer in San Francisco who codes for 10 to 12 hours a day. Sedentary job, high mental demand, lots of stress. He used to roll out of bed, grab coffee, and sit at his computer until late at night. He was productive in terms of output, but his mental state was deteriorating. Anxiety, brain fog, poor sleep, low energy. Classic symptoms of neglecting the physical while overworking the mental. Then he started a simple morning routine, 30 minutes of bodyweight exercises and a short run. Nothing extreme, just consistent movement before starting his workday. The change was dramatic. His code quality improved because his thinking was clearer. His stress decreased because he had a healthy outlet for tension. His sleep improved because his body was actually tired instead of just mentally exhausted. But the biggest shift was psychological. He proved to himself every single morning that he could do something difficult. That willpower translated directly into his work, tackling harder problems, pushing through frustration, maintaining focus for longer periods. This is the Stoic understanding. Discipline in one area builds discipline in all areas. When you train your body with consistency, you're simultaneously training your mind to be consistent. The morning is the best time for this because it sets the tone. If you can force yourself to work out when you're tired, when it's dark outside, when you'd rather stay in bed, you've already won the hardest battle of the day. Everything else becomes easier in comparison. And here's the critical point. You don't wait to feel motivated. You don't work out only on days when you feel like it. That's not discipline, that's just occasional enthusiasm. Real discipline means showing up especially on the days you don't want to. Those are the days that actually build mental strength. Try this. Tomorrow morning, commit to 15 minutes of movement. Set a timer if you need to. Push-ups, squats, burpees, jumping jacks, a short run, whatever gets your heart rate up and challenges your body. Do it before checking your phone, before coffee, before anything else. Make it the first victory of your day. And do it every single day for a month. No exceptions, no negotiations. Watch how this simple practice transforms not just your physical state, but your entire mental approach to challenges. The Stoics didn't separate body and mind. Neither should you. Habit 9. Read Stoic wisdom. Your mind is most impressionable in the morning. Whatever you feed it in those first moments shapes your thinking for the rest of the day. Most guys feed their minds junk. News designed to make them anxious, social media designed to make them feel inadequate, emails designed to make them feel behind. The Stoic alternative: start your day with wisdom. The habit is simple. Spend 3 to 5 minutes reading Stoic philosophy every morning. Just a quote, a passage, maybe a page from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations or Epictetus's Discourses. You're not trying to get through the whole book. You're looking for one idea that you can carry with you through the day. Let's say you read this quote from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. You sit with that for a moment, let it sink in. Then you ask yourself, where in my life am I trying to control outside events instead of controlling my own responses? Maybe it's a difficult coworker. Maybe it's a project that's behind schedule. Maybe it's your partner's mood. You've been trying to change these external factors and getting frustrated when they don't change. But this quote reminds you, you can't control the coworker, the timeline, or your partner. You can only control your response to them. That's where your power actually lies. This simple reflection changes how you approach the entire day. Instead of trying to force external circumstances to match your preferences, you focus on maintaining your own equilibrium regardless of what happens around you. I know a sales manager in Atlanta who started doing this. He'd spend the first 5 minutes of his morning reading a Stoic passage and writing a short note about how it applied to his life. Some mornings it was about patience with his team. Other mornings it was about not being attached to outcomes he couldn't control. Sometimes it was about maintaining integrity even when shortcuts were available. These weren't abstract philosophical exercises. They were direct applications to real situations he was facing. And by priming his mind with Stoic principles first thing in the morning, he found himself naturally applying them throughout the day. When a deal fell through, he'd remember, what's within my control? My effort, my attitude, my preparation for the next opportunity. When a team member underperformed, he'd remember, I can't control their motivation, but I can control how clearly I communicate expectations and whether I provide the support they need. The practice of reading Stoic wisdom isn't about memorizing quotes or sounding smart. It's about actively reshaping how you think. It's mental training through exposure to ideas that challenge your reactive patterns and invite you toward more thoughtful, intentional responses. Modern psychology calls this cognitive priming. The ideas you engage with in the morning create mental frameworks that influence how you interpret and respond to situations later in the day. Try this. Pick up a copy of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius or The Enchiridion by Epictetus. Tomorrow morning, read just one passage. Could be 3 sentences, could be a paragraph. Then close the book and ask yourself, how does this apply to my life today? Write down one specific way you'll practice that idea. Be concrete. Not I'll be more patient, but when my coworker interrupts me in the meeting, I'll pause and listen instead of getting frustrated. This practice takes less than 5 minutes but can completely reframe your entire day. You're feeding your mind nourishment instead of junk. You're starting from a place of wisdom instead of reaction. And over time, these daily doses of Stoic wisdom compound. You start thinking differently, responding differently, living differently. Not because you've read a book, but because you've consistently applied its principles to your actual life. Habit 10. Journal your progress. The Stoics were obsessive about self-reflection, not in a self-absorbed way, but in the spirit of continuous improvement. Marcus Aurelius didn't write Meditations to publish it. He wrote it as a private journal, a daily practice of examining his own thoughts, actions, and character. The morning habit, write for 5 minutes. That's it. You can do this first thing when you wake up, or you can do it the night before to reflect on the day and set intention for the next one. Either works. The key is consistency and honesty. This isn't about creating a polished narrative for an audience. This is a private conversation with yourself where you can be completely real. The Stoics would ask themselves 3 questions. What did I do well? Where did I fall short? How can I improve? No judgment, just observation. You're not beating yourself up or inflating your ego. You're simply looking at the facts of your behavior and extracting lessons. Let's make this concrete. Say yesterday you lost your temper with a coworker over a minor issue. In your journal, you'd write about it honestly. I got frustrated when Sarah didn't send the report on time. I snapped at her in the team meeting. That wasn't necessary or helpful. Then you'd reflect. I was already stressed about the client deadline. I took that stress out on Sarah instead of managing it properly. Next time I feel that frustration building, I'll take a breath before responding, and I'll talk to her privately instead of calling her out publicly. This is how you turn mistakes into growth, not by pretending they didn't happen or dwelling on them endlessly, but by acknowledging them clearly and extracting useful lessons. I know a startup founder in Boulder who credits journaling with keeping him sane through the chaos of building a company. Every morning for 5 minutes, he writes about the previous day. Sometimes he writes about what went well, closed a deal, had a breakthrough with a product feature, handled a difficult conversation skillfully. Sometimes he writes about what went poorly, reacted defensively to feedback, avoided a decision he knew he needed to make, let stress affect his patience with his team. But the consistency of the practice gives him something invaluable: perspective. When you're in the middle of chaos, everything feels urgent and overwhelming. But when you write about it, you can see patterns. You notice that the same issues keep coming up. You realize that some problems solve themselves while others require your attention. This clarity is impossible to achieve when you're just bouncing from one crisis to the next without ever pausing to reflect. Journaling also serves another crucial function. It holds you accountable to yourself. When you write down that you're going to improve in a specific area, and then that same issue shows up in your journal week after week without improvement, you can't ignore it. You're confronting the gap between who you say you want to be and how you're actually behaving. That confrontation is uncomfortable, but it's necessary for growth. The practice doesn't require anything fancy. A basic notebook and a pen. 5 minutes. 3 questions. That's the entire system. Try this tomorrow morning. Get a notebook dedicated to this practice. Write the date. Then answer those 3 questions about yesterday. What did I do well? Where did I fall short? How can I improve today? Be specific. Don't just say I was productive. Right? I stayed focused for 2 hours straight on the proposal without checking my phone. Don't just say I need to be better. Right? I'm going to respond to emails only twice today instead of constantly checking. Do this every single day for a month. You'll be amazed at how much self-awareness you develop and how much more intentional your behavior becomes. The Stoics understood that you can't improve what you don't examine. Journaling is how you examine yourself honestly, extract lessons, and continuously refine who you're becoming. Habit 11. Practice gratitude and forgiveness. The final Stoic morning habit might be the most powerful. Consciously practice gratitude and forgiveness. Not as some feel-good exercise, but as a strategic way to clear your mind of resentment and negativity so you can focus on what actually matters. Here's why this matters. Every morning you wake up carrying invisible weight. Grudges against people who wronged you. Resentment about circumstances that didn't go your way. Bitterness about opportunities you missed or advantages others have. This weight drains your energy before you even start your day. And the Stoics understood that carrying it serves no purpose. It doesn't hurt the people you resent. They probably don't even know you're upset. It only hurts you. The morning practice has 2 parts. First, gratitude. Write down or mentally acknowledge 3 specific things you're grateful for. Not generic stuff like I'm grateful for my family, but specific. I'm grateful that I have reliable transportation to get to work. I'm grateful that my body is healthy enough to work out. I'm grateful that I learned something valuable from that difficult conversation yesterday. This isn't about toxic positivity or pretending everything is perfect. It's about acknowledging what's actually working in your life instead of only focusing on what's wrong. The neuroscience is clear. Gratitude practices literally rewire your brain to notice positive aspects of your life that you'd otherwise overlook. It shifts you out of scarcity mindset and into abundance mindset. Second, forgiveness. If there's someone you're holding a grudge against, consciously choose to let it go. Not for their benefit, for yours. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic yesterday and you've been annoyed about it since. Maybe a coworker took credit for your idea. Maybe your partner said something that hurt your feelings. Holding on to these things doesn't change what happened. It just keeps you stuck in the past, replaying the injury, reinforcing the negative emotion. The Stoic approach is simple. Acknowledge what happened, extract any useful lesson, and then release it. Consciously choose not to carry it forward. I know a project manager in Boston who transformed his entire mental state with this practice. He used to wake up every morning already irritated, thinking about team members who weren't pulling their weight, executives who made unreasonable demands, clients who kept changing requirements. He'd bring all this resentment to work and it would color every interaction. He was short with people, defensive, always feeling like he was fighting against everyone. Then he started a simple morning ritual, 3 things he was grateful for, and 1 grudge he was choosing to release. Some days the gratitude was simple. I'm grateful I didn't hit traffic on the way in yesterday. I'm grateful my coffee this morning was exactly right. I'm grateful that I have a job that challenges me even when it's frustrating. The forgiveness varied. I'm letting go of my frustration with Mike for missing the deadline. I'm releasing my resentment about not getting that promotion. I'm choosing not to stay angry about the client changing direction again. The shift was dramatic. Same job, same challenges, same people, but he was no longer approaching every day from a place of grievance. He was starting from gratitude and actively releasing negativity instead of accumulating it. His team noticed. His stress decreased. His relationships improved, not because circumstances changed, but because his approach to those circumstances changed completely. Here's the thing most guys miss. You can't be grateful and resentful at the same time. They're incompatible mental states. When you actively practice gratitude, you're training your brain to see what's present instead of only what's missing. And when you practice forgiveness, you're refusing to let other people's actions or past circumstances control your present emotional state. Try this tomorrow morning. Before you check your phone, before you do anything else, write down or say out loud 3 specific things you're grateful for. Then identify 1 thing, a grudge, a resentment, an annoyance that you're choosing to release. Say it explicitly. I'm letting go of my frustration about specific thing. Happened, I can't change it, and I'm not going to carry it anymore. Do this every single day for a month. You'll notice that you're starting each day from a fundamentally different emotional baseline. Not because your life got easier, but because you're no longer adding unnecessary suffering to necessary challenges. The Stoics understood that freedom isn't about controlling your circumstances. It's about not being controlled by them. And gratitude and forgiveness are how you practice that freedom daily. Closing, we've just walked through 11 Stoic morning habits that have the power to completely transform not just your mornings, but your entire life. Let's recap quickly. Start in silence, choose your virtue for the day, practice negative visualization, define your circle of control, take immediate action, remember you're going to die, embrace. Whatever comes, train your body, read Stoic wisdom, journal your progress, practice gratitude and forgiveness. Each of these habits addresses a specific aspect of mental training. Together, they create a comprehensive system for taking control of your mind, your emotions, and your day. Here's what I want you to do. Don't try to implement all 11 habits tomorrow. That's a recipe for overwhelm and failure. Instead, pick one. Just one habit that resonated most strongly with you. Commit to doing it every single morning for the next 7 days. After that week, add a second habit. Build gradually. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistent progress. And here's the challenge. After you implement these habits for a week, drop a comment and let us know what changed. Which habit made the biggest difference? What did you struggle with? What surprised you? We're building a community here at Strength Within of men who are committed to real growth, not just consuming content. So engage, share your experience, and let's learn from each other. If this video added value to your life, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're just getting started with content that will help you build mental strength, emotional resilience, and the kind of character that commands respect. The ancient Stoics left us a blueprint for living well despite chaos, uncertainty, and difficulty. Now it's our job to take that ancient wisdom and apply it to our modern lives. Your mornings are the foundation of your days. Your days are the foundation of your life. Win the morning and you've already won half the battle. Let's get to work.